Why are promiscuous women shamed in so many societies? Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be talking about, well, why promiscuous women are shamed in so many societies. And so first, we have to define, what is promiscuity? And so according to the Oxford language, or the Oxford Dictionary, promiscuous is defined as having or being characterized by many sexual relationships that last a very short time. So, for example, let's say the relationship lasts 2 weeks. The person has sex with, they have sexual relations with one person, then they leave, and then after 2 weeks they do the same thing. 2-week relationship. They give it up, move, rinse, repeat. They keep doing the same thing. And so, basically, what it shows is the lack of an ability to commit to one person. And from the male perspective, this is a big red flag. Because if a woman isn't willing to commit to anybody, what makes you think she's going to commit to you? And what that comes down to is and not only that, you also have a person that has a track record of leaving after a short period of time. And so let's say somehow, or let's say just for the sake of argument, you end up marrying this woman that's promiscuous. The moment she gets, okay, and they have the honeymoon phase, just want to add that in. Everything's cool, honeymoon phase. You think this is going to last, the rest of your life. You think she's probably the one. Then the moment things get boring, she's gone. And then repeating the same cycle. Because her track record of promiscuity basically indirectly tells you that her decision-making skills are absolutely disgraceful. They're terrible. Like next level garbage. And so it's like how society doesn't look profoundly upon drug addicts because their decision-making skills are also terrible because they chose to, destroy their lives by using hard drugs or maybe it's alcoholics doing the same thing with alcohol. They chose to abuse alcohol and basically become addicted to it, which again is also another terrible decision. Now I want to add this in. I'm not saying don't ever drink alcohol. You can do whatever you want, but it's if you start abusing the alcohol is when it's a absolutely, terrible decision. And so society or civilizations as a whole, or even communities, shame this because it all has one common theme in line. Terrible decision making. For example, a girl sleeps with 10 guys in 2 years. And now she's pregnant. She doesn't know who the father is because 9 of them left. And one of them, is still there. He doesn't know why he's there, but he's just there. And so now, I'm obviously assuming that guy's probably, pushover, the archetypal simp. But the guy's not going to want to be with that. And especially once he knows that it's not his kid, assuming that that's, making a big if, considering that he finds out because the girl might hide it from him, he's not going to want to be with her. And if he knew that she slept with 9 guys in the past, 2 years, and usually it's way worse than that, don't get me wrong. It's probably, usually it's, especially if it's college age women, it's like 20 guys in the past, month. Some crazy like that. And they'll have body counts, triple digits, maybe in the thousands. And it's just a display of it's like having a giant sign the size of, let's say, a Coca-Cola billboard, that I can't make good decisions. My decision-making skills are horrible because they can't commit to one guy. They find one guy and then they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to have sex with him. And then he leaves. And then they do the same thing with the next guy and the next one. And it repeats. And then they're surprised when they're single, when they're 40 and they have a body count that's, as high as, Arizona in the freaking summer sunshine, or in the summer. But again, the point is, women, promiscuous women, they're shamed in societies because not only are they seen as people who can't make good decisions and have terrible, and they lack emotional impulse and they have terrible impulse control, or they're terrible at managing their emotions. They're terrible when it comes to impulse control, but also it's almost impossible, or it's very hard to build a stable society upon a bunch of promiscuous women that won't, remain loyal to one guy. That doesn't mean she has to spend, her whole life with one dude, but it's the women that don't commit to one guy. It's the women, the college age women, especially we're seeing a lot of them now with, the Gen Z crowd, that will sleep with 20 guys in a month. And, they're emotionally destroyed because they don't know which guy they love because they just gave up to 20 dudes in a month. Not to mention they've probably been doing that before because you don't start there. And so they don't know who to commit to. And yeah. And if you think about it, the family unit is the strongest, thing that can really exist in human history. Because, and I want to add this in too, a nation is, in a way, reflective. The state of a nation is reflective of the values of its people. And that includes family values. So if the family values in a country are terrible and they are extremely, passive, and they accept degeneracy, promiscuity, infidelity, a lack of loyalty, or an absence of loyalty, actually, then the country is not gonna be stable. I mean, look no further than, Rome in its periods of turmoil. The men were weak and the women were promiscuous. There was a lot of degeneracy. Look no further than, it was right after Marcus Aurelius' reign, but it was, it was under, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's Caracalla. It was a period of 2 emperors, all right? But there's a lot of, And, you know, in a nutshell, a lot of degeneracy, you know, they tolerated a lot of garbage. And, you know, the empire started to collapse. And, you know, it didn't take long because of that. And, you know, examples like this aren't just restricted to the Roman Empire. You know, it's whenever a society becomes weak, they begin to tolerate degeneracy and sexual immorality and infidelity and a lack of loyalty and essentially a lack of perseverance. Because the moment that things get hard, the people don't want to stick through the relationship. They just want to blow it up and then leave. You know, leave as fast as they can to save themselves. So it's essentially selfishness too. You know, not contributing to something bigger than yourself. And honestly, I'll add too, another big example of this is Weimar Germany. But that's going to be a topic for another video. And, you know, so yeah, in a way, yeah, basically, the second point too is that it's to ensure, whether consciously or whether intentionally or, you know, unintentionally, to preserve a strong nation, and in this case, for the United States, a strong democracy or a constitutional republic, whichever way you want to look at it. But yeah, that's my take on why promiscuous women are shamed today, and have been for so long. If this resonated with any of you guys, feel free to give a like or subscribe to my channel, or, you know, place a comment in the you know, the section below. And you know the drill. I'll see you in the next one. Yeah. Take care.